Hey everyone, it's Sleepy Reader here with the promised part 2 haul video of mostly of a Mother's Day sale that I went to last week. That was 50% off comics. But I'm going to throw in some other stuff that I got. I realize I have a few other things laying around. This may not be as interesting to most people as the 1970s black and white magazines that I showed in the first haul. So, there's going to be a lot of Atlas comics, a lot of Kitchen Sink Spirit comics, and a lot of Thunder Agents, and that's the bulk of it. But anyway, feel free to watch, of course. And at first I thought about maybe I'll just pass and not make the part 2 that I had said I was going to make. But since I said I was going to make it, and it'd probably at least be fun for me at some point to look back and remember what I picked up by looking at these videos. Oops, just not going off the table. So I'm going to turn the camera around in a moment. Another thing I wanted to mention to those of you who love Jack Kirby, don't forget about the Jack Kirby Collector. I just got the latest issue in the mail. Really great cover. I think I already damaged it a little bit, or maybe my daughter did. But this is kind of the Father's Day issue with father and son characters, and father and son reminisces with Jack Kirby's son, for instance. And a reminisce from what's his name? Al Milgrom, who apparently did in the 70s cover layouts for Kirby's covers. So I guess he was just sort of fulfilling his contract, but still his covers seem brilliant. But editorial speaks. Anyway, these are always loaded with good things, so I'm sure most of you already know about the Jack Kirby Collector, but if you don't, or you'd forgotten that it's still being published, it's still out there, it's still tons of comics trivia, comics nostalgia, comics love, comics history fun. It's from Tomorrow's Press. Some comic book stores carry it, but you can also order it from Tomorrow's. If you order it from them, you also get a free digital copy, which I actually like having on my iPad. So I generally order them directly from Tomorrow's so that I can get a copy of the physical and have the digital to read on the iPad. And also from eBay, I got some it doesn't even say on it that it is Atlas Seaboard, but this is an Atlas Seaboard black and white magazine, Weird Tales of the Macabre. I think I've shown when I got issue number 1, and now I have issue number 2, which are the only 2 issues. So I continue. The dustiness of the paper made me cough, kicking up my asthma a bit. I continue to work on completing my Atlas Seaboard collection. I want everything that they ever published, which I think is less than 90 items, but it's getting harder and harder to find stuff. But I have more Atlas Seaboard color stuff to show you in a minute when I turn my camera around. This looks like a fun magazine. What might have been had Atlas Seaboard survived. I guess it would have cut into the sales of Marvel and DC to some extent. Who knows? Okay, I'm going to turn around the camera and show you some. As I said, I got some more Atlas Seaboard comics. It's funny, it was easy to find Brute number 1, but Brute number 2 and 3 kind of eluded me, so I finally gave in and mailed off to mycomicshop.com, which is my favorite place when I have to break down and get comics online. So I got the Brute number 3 and Brute number 2. He's somehow a super strong caveman awoken in our age. I can't remember a whole lot about it. I remember thinking at the time, back in 1974, whenever it was, that he was kind of like Atlas's Hulk. So I'm glad I think this only goes to 3 issues, so I'm glad to kind of complete that. That looks like a Pablo Marcos cover. I'm not sure, is that a Dick Giordano cover or someone else, perhaps inked by Dick Giordano? This one is there's a signature, Pablo Marcos. I don't see any signatures on this one. Anyway, I don't know why it makes me so happy to get the Atlas Seaboard. They had a special meaning to me when I was a kid. My first sort of, hey, a new company's starting. I mean, that was kind of very exciting. So, and here is the Destructor number 4. I can't really remember anything about this Destructor. I think that's a Larry Lieber cover. He has that sort of somewhere between Jack Kirby and John Romita kind of style, and he brings some of that Marvel dynamics to his cover style. I'm going to open it up because I'm kind of curious who drew the inside. I'm almost thinking it might be Steve Ditko. Steve Ditko did come in and do quite a number of Atlas comics. Oh, this one feels in nice condition. Yep, Jerry Conway and Steve Ditko. Inking by Alan Milgrom. Probably pretty early in his career. I think Al Milgrom was a fan who met Jim Starlin through fan magazines and fan culture, and they both then broke in at Marvel. Did Milgrom start as Starlin's inker? I'm not sure. Anyway, that's interesting. Doesn't look as Steve Ditko-ish as normal, so Milgrom perhaps had kind of a heavy hand over Ditko, I'm guessing. And then I got Morlock 2000. This was one where between issue 1 and issue 2, it changed already. A lot of the Atlas characters would suddenly morph. It's like, oh, they decided not to do it. We're not going to do him that way. We're going to redo the hero as something else. But I think this guy is actually a plant, Morlock 2000. Anyway, kind of weird to name your hero Morlock, since those were the villains in the Time Machine, the cannibalistic, underground, ape-like people in the Time Machine by H.G. Wells. So that's always intrigued me. And then I got Demon Hunter. I actually already have at least one copy of Demon Hunter, if not more. As a child, Demon Hunter was my absolute favorite of the Atlas comics. And I always imagined there were more issues of Demon Hunter that I missed, but there literally only was one Demon Hunter. Except that Buckler and David Anthony Kraft brought the Demon Hunter over to Marvel and called him Devil Hunter. And thus, I suppose, lost their copyright on their character. But that's an interesting one that someday I might do a video about that whole thing. There's some cool articles online about it that I've read. And Police Action number 2, featuring Lomax and Luke Malone, Manhunter. I think we've all forgotten what the term Manhunter really means anymore. I think it meant like a bounty hunter or something originally. So now we have the Martian Manhunter, and of course the old hero Manhunter, and then they turned it into the Manhunters. That had something to do with the Green Lantern Corps. Here we get Luke Malone, Manhunter. Probably someone out there knows more about what Manhunter means than I do and will correct me. I also think that's a Larry Lieber cover. Larry Lieber, Stan Lee's brother, who was editing over at Atlas Comics. It's too bad he didn't draw any of their comics, or even write them. I don't think he wrote or drew any of them. And here we have Police Action number 3, featuring Lomax and Luke Malone, Manhunter. I can't figure out who did that cover. It almost looks Tom Sutton-ish to me. So yeah, that's interesting. And here's one. I vividly remember this one. I even kind of remember eating macaroni and cheese while reading The Scorpion number 3 when I first got it. It's Johnny Craig art on the cover. Is it Johnny? Or is it a different Craig? And I think he might have the interior art. I remember really liking this one. The Scorpion fighting the Golem. The Golem. Oddly, that the Golem is working for the Nazis, given the origin of the mythological Golem. But, yeah, Jim Craig art. Story by Gabriel Levy. Never heard of Gabriel Levy, but I remember really liking this art as a kid. They're kind of turning him into a Spider-Man-like character, I guess. And originally, in the first issue, I can't remember what he was in the second issue. In the first issue, he was kind of an adventurer, created and drawn by Howard Chaykin. But then they changed him into a superhero. So, interesting. Okay, now for kind of a change of direction. I have, at that sale at Cosmic Monkey, I bought 19 issues of The Spirit from Kitchen Sink. Now, Kitchen Sink originally just continued the Spirit magazine from Warren with the same numbering. And at some point, I don't know if the black and white one ended and or the magazine size black and white one ended and they went to a comic book size one. What really interests me and why I want to get them all, even if they have mostly repeats of stuff I've already read in other forms, is they all have brand new covers by Will Eisner. And I think these covers are beautiful. Of the 19 I got, this is my least favorite one. I wonder if they say anything about the covers. So I think it's going to be black and white on the inside. No, it's color on the inside. Some of these are black and white and some are color. But I like that coloring better than the coloring, I think, in the Masterworks that came out later. Or maybe the paper is better for this kind of coloring. I don't see any credits for the coloring anywhere. I'll have to look through these some more. I've got a lot of these to go through. So that was number 3, and there's number 5. So I think there's like 60 of these, or maybe even more. And then now I want to get them all, just for the covers, whether or not I ever read the inside. There's an example of one of those Will Eisner drawings I just can't get enough of. I have, in fact, been looking on Heritage and on a Kitchen Sink website. I keep glancing at original Will Eisner art. If I'm going to buy original art and spend a lot of money, that would be one to go for. There's the Spirit with the Vulture. A silly but really fun villain of the Spirits. And that was number 6. Number 10. I love this kind of scene through the doorway of some kind of arabesque building. I think that's Pagel. I'm not sure. Watching on as the Spirit fights a bunch of imaginary fairy tale-like Arab thugs. And here's a very explosive one with the Spirit always gets beat up. But yeah, there's the signature, Will Eisner, 1985. So he was drawing the Spirit throughout his lifetime, although he stopped drawing actual Spirit comics. He drew so many brand new Spirit covers, it's pretty amazing. Now every month, so I guess it wasn't monthly before. Love that, the way that gun comes out from the side. There's the Will Eisner signature. I'm going to look inside again, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't color the whole time. Yeah, there it is, black and white. So many good stories. Really, there's only like a 5-year period where he was at his peak, but that's a lot of stories because 52 stories a year. Imagine coming up with a new twist story that are this good every week. I know we did use assistants and sometimes had plot assists from people like Pfeiffer. But anyway, the amount of quality stuff he turned out during that period is mind-blowing. Spirit number 15. Oh, I can't remember the name of that character, but this is great. Love all the test tubes and stuff in the front. And Ellen Dolan in the background there. And Spirit number 59. I guess I got them out of order here. I'm going to do a quick shuffle. Yeah, so there was at least 60, but even more. And I think I have about 35 of them now because I already had some in my collection. Excuse me. Whoa. Sorry. Having a bit of a meltdown in the background here with sliding around comics. I am very professional. Huh. Oh, I guess what I got did skip ahead that far. So that's 59. So now this is Spirit. It says, that's interesting. The signature says Spirit 1959, 1989. I'm sorry, Will Eisner, 5989. I'd love to find out who the colorists were on these, or I assume Eisner did not do the coloring himself. But the coloring works very well. And then there's 58. Also an awesome cover. I mean, not just the action in the foreground, but all the other stuff going on everywhere. The Spirit meets the Whittler. You know, you'd think Eisner, if he wanted to, could have kind of taken it easy at this point with all these reprints, but he's still putting plenty of effort into the covers. Always got a sense of action or intrigue or humor going on. Look at the complexity there of this composition, but it still, for me, works really well. The Spirit looks very odd. I think that's supposed to be like college kids' clothing, I'm guessing. So, you know, talk about a cover that's telling a story and has a lot going on, a lot of compositional elements. Sorry, not a story, a cover. Back to School with Pagel. And here is 63. Ellen Dolan running for mayor. That looks a little different. There's Will Eisner 6389 there. So something's going on with these covers. They're redos of covers from the 60s. That's strange. This one is 6589. There's kind of a... I think there was a splash page of some Eisner cover like that. Again, these are also interesting compositionally, in my opinion. Love the colors in that one, too. Love finds Will Eisner's Spirit, number 67. And the signature says Will Eisner 6790. Maybe he just did some retouches. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But I'm going to have to look through these magazines. And Darling meets the octopus. That little girl is probably Darling. I don't think that's the octopus because we never see the octopus in his face unless this is breaking with that. But I assume the octopus is somewhere else, not in this picture. Darling must be a poor little rich girl or something. 6890. And 6990. That's very intriguing. Another cool cover. That looks kind of like the Vulture to me, but it might be someone else. Mr. Carrion. Mr. Carrion returns. Was that actually his name and it wasn't the Vulture? I'm not sure now. And Welcome Back Pagel. Spirit trapped in a net with an ape man. The signature says 1970, 1990. And 4 never reprinted stories in this one. And it looks like we've got kind of a Mount Rushmore of the Spirit, although it's somewhere, I don't know, in the Afghanistan or something like that, I'm guessing from the look of things. Weird. And what's the signature say? 1971, 1990. And finally, the last of the ones I got, number 72, meet Vetabara. And there's the Spirit marooned on an island with a bunch of pearls and a mostly undressed woman. Okay, so that's a big hunk of Spirits. It turns out there's another sale coming up on Memorial Day at another comic shop, Excalibur, which has usually a great back issue selection. So I'm going to see if I can fill out a lot more of these that I don't have there. Okay, and in the just a few hauls ago, you saw me get my first original Thunder Agents comics, and so I was on the prowl for more. Excuse me. And at Cosmic Monkey, they only had one more that I didn't have. It looks like the cover's pretty scratched up, but this one is number 3. And at half price, that seemed very good for me, even for a reader's copy. So, but then that made me think, I wonder what I could get on eBay. And I saw this lot of Thunder Agent comics, and I bid kind of low, and I was the only one. And so I won them. So I have a bunch of them, some of which I already had, but a lot that I didn't. Because in the previous haul, I got numbers 11 through 16. So this one says it's number 7. What number was that one that I got for $7? It was number 3. And number 7. I didn't put these in order. I'm sorry. I meant to do that beforehand. That's number 7. Number 4. I think these ended up costing me about $3 or $4 a piece. Number 18. I pissed at myself for not getting them in order. Number 18. Number 16, which I already had. I think these are all Wallywood covers, or almost all. Number 12. I already had that one too. Number 11, which I already had in the last haul. So I've got a lot of doubles now, but still got more of these. Unfortunately, this has the date written on the cover. Some people really like it, the date written on the cover. Number 9. I don't know if that one's Wallywood. Maybe it is Wallywood. It's hard to say. Does he sign these? I always think of Wallywood signing everything, but no. Number 8. I like that cover a lot. And it looks very Wallywood. And, okay, this is bizarre. Right in the middle of the picture, no ads, all action from cover to cover. I bet that was not Wallywood's idea to do that. Number 19. Maybe they were getting desperate at this point, because I think the comic was about to get canceled. I'm not sure, but I think that number 20 is the last issue, and I think it contains reprints. It's got the date written on it also. So, and that doesn't look like a Wallywood cover to me. Could it be George Tuska? I'm not sure. So that, I think I've just got 3 or 4 more Thunder Agents. And then there's also a few other short-lived series. This is really beat up, but included in that pack, in that stack, I got from eBay, I got No Man, Trapped in the Past, Thunder, Invisible Agent No Man. So I don't know how many issues there were of that. Probably not very many. This is issue number 2 of Dynamo. I think I remember when I put this into CLZ that there were 3 issues of Dynamo total. So this is Dynamo number 2. So I'm very excited to get all of these Thunder Agents. And now that I'm so close to having them all, I wonder how hard it will be to get number 1, although I have reprints of that one. I'm kind of waiting to get all of them and then read them all. That's my fantasy. So then I also got a few other things. Oops. While I was ordering things from mycomicshop.com, I got Millie the Model, number 194. And I'd like to get more Millies, but I don't want to spend a lot of money on them. So I think I was just picking around for readers' copies that they had on mycomicshop.com. And then I got number 8 of Chili, Millie's red-haired rival. She's kind of even more into men and attracting men than Millie is. And there's number 9 of Chili. So I think Chili would be doable in the sense of collecting all of them. it'd be pretty hard to get all of the Millie the Models because she went on for so long. I do want to note that Chili came out, I believe, before Cheryl Blossom. I think she's a character that she came out before Cheryl Blossom, the kind of rival of Veronica in for snotty rich girl rival of Veronica in the Archie comics. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Okay, thanks for hanging out with me. Probably another haul coming in a couple of weeks after the Memorial Day sale. And more comic book thoughts coming up. I've just been kind of slow on that. I've been distracted from making videos a bit. Talk to you all later.